Hello, church, and welcome to the pastor's update for Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. I hope everyone had as good a Thanksgiving as you could have last week. We certainly had beautiful weather, so I hope that the loved ones you were able to see, whether in person or whether by Zoom or phone or whatever other way, that it was just a filling time in more ways than one. A few things to talk about as we have just entered into the Advent season. It's one of those years where we go directly from Thanksgiving to the first Sunday of Advent. So that oftentimes catches us off guard a little bit. But this year is all about being caught off guard, right? So what more can, just bring it on, right? This coming Sunday is the second Sunday of Advent, so that's lighting the candle of peace. We have a number of UCC devotionals that we ordered, and we try to offer them in years different than this. We offer them to participants in our adult studies and Bible studies. But I did make that offer to those in the Bible studies, and they have had an opportunity to grab some if they wanted them. But I just wanted to put it out there to anyone watching this who's a part of the church, that if you would like one of those wonderfully written devotionals, and what it is every day there's something, a reflection piece that really I think helps connect us more deeply to this season in preparation of Christmas. If you would like one of those books, there's only about 15 or so. So depending on how many people respond, we may not have enough. But I just wanted to put it out there in a little bit of a broader way because we do have them, and they are wonderful resources. If you want one, get in touch with the church office. That's Barb Grandstaff. It's church.secretary@1ccauburn.org. And you can, one of them, we can have it left out, in the front bin of the church office, so you can swing by and pick it up. Next Monday, the 7th, I think, begins our time of this church being responsible for the bell ringing at Save Mart. And so I've been told that if you are participating in that, please do report to what is called the bakery door of Save Mart, which is, as you're facing the building, is simply the entrance on the left. That's where the bell ringing will be happening. And thank you to everyone who has signed up this whole week from the 7th to the 11th. We will be in charge. So anyone that goes to Save Mart, you'll likely see familiar faces there. So thank you all for being a part of that. A couple updates on what we've got planned for Christmas-related services, Christmas Eve stuff. Obviously, it's been a challenging time to make a lot of plans these days, but I'm still in conversation with our worship leadership team, our musicians, with Becca in the children's youth ministry, and we're making some contingency plans. So here's what we have in mind. First off, this is definitely happening. We're doing a children's pageant, a Christmas pageant, by sort of video, and that will be created and distributed in one way or another. We'll get it to you through one of the different services, or it'll be up on the church website. So different families are participating, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's different, certainly not as maybe charming as seeing it live, but I do think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I look forward to seeing how that comes together and participating in it, of course. Another service that we have done many times in the past, and we're still planning to do this year, is the Advent Spiral. So that's what that is a meditative service that involves a laying of greens in the form of a labyrinth, and just kind of a very quiet, it's a little bit of quiet music, Christmas-themed music often, but a time to gather in a quiet way and walk through the labyrinth, bringing a light. Oftentimes we have a small candle that's inside of an apple, placed in an apple. And so we carry the light in with us. We bring it out then, and we leave it along the path to light each other's way. There's more to it than that, but it's a beautiful service every year that we're hoping to be able to do in a safe way outside, perhaps in the church parking lot or in the back deck somewhere, or on some other part of the grounds. But we're planning on that probably somewhere around the third week of December, so only a couple weeks away from now. But that's to be announced, because we're really trying to wait and see how things shape up weather-wise, and it's just going to take some flexibility. So I hope everyone's feeling still a little bit flexible as we're coming to the close of this year. And then lastly, for Christmas Eve, here's the dream service, okay? The dream idea is that we will be able to gather outside around, say, a wood pile and have a Christmas Eve bonfire and share stories and songs and prayers and maybe even a little food around that fire. Not meet for too long, try to keep it shorter if possible, but to make it a gathering, but outside. And if we can pull that off, and we will do so if it's safe, that would be wonderful. Alternatively, if weather is an issue, or if there's just other factors that we just decide, we're just not going to do that, the other option we're considering is to have a live streamed service from the church sanctuary. What that would mean is no one actually attends in person, but you can all tune in live, and we're participating in it at the same time. And we can do a candle lighting there. I'll just ask you to bring your own candle, whatever kind of candle you have. And we can do perhaps a more traditional candlelight service through the sanctuary, but just you all participating from home. So that's the second option for Christmas Eve. Look, none of these are maybe ideal on the face of it, but the more I talk about it, and the more when I work with some of our team, which I'm so thankful to be able to work with, but I just feel there's a lot of creative energy here still. And if we can just give ourselves to the opportunity that this is, rather than the loss, or exclusively the loss, we're in for a surprise. And to me, that's such a part of what Advent is about in a time of trial, in a time of darkness, in a time of despair. That's what Advent was. It's a time where people were feeling low. It was a time where people walked in great darkness, but then they see this great light, and whatever that light is. Because let's be truthful, in the darkest times, the faintest light looks bright. It appears to be a great light. So whatever the light that we see is, it's something that is bound to surprise us when we see it. It's just going to surprise us. That's the story of Advent. That's the message of Advent. So I hope that in the midst of all that has been this year, we still remain in that place where we look forward to being surprised, and that we can give ourselves to some of these shifting, changing, unpredictable days and times and everything, where we can't even plan a church service per se, without saying, well, we got to have contingencies and stipulations. But look, we can still look forward to something wonderful, something surprising, something beautiful happening in the midst of it all. And that, to me, may be one of the most powerful messages that Advent has to offer us. One of the other things that Advent has to offer us is an opportunity to reflect on our own lives and where we are. And I know a lot of us maybe have had an opportunity to do that over these last months. But then again, sometimes things can just be rolling in ways where one day just falls right after another, and we're just in it. And we don't take the time or have the time to put our heads up above that water and just sort of take a look around and witness to something that is profound, even if it's like mundane, even if it's simple, even if it's just a regular thing like witnessing a sunrise or a sunset, or just the way that the light hits a certain tree, or a bird sounds, or even your pets or your children, when they're just sort of not sure that you're even hearing what they're doing, and they're just doing their thing. There's something beautiful that can happen if we just give ourselves that space to take it in once in a while. Well, there's something that one of my boys wrote this week that was one of those kind of moments for me. A simple thing, but it just allowed me to take in something beautiful, something hopeful about life. So in that sense, this is in its own way an Advent poem. So I want to share it with you. This is from Wyatt, and he gave me permission to read this to you right now. So here it is, poem that he wrote. Let us run. Let us run. Outside, it is like snow burning in the moonlight. Let's have fun. It's a warm winter day. Let us play. Let us play. Let us play on this warm winter day. We will run. We will hike and bike and eat at a buffet. We will drive back home and sleep on the night of the warm winter day. Why is that an Advent poem? Because it is something so wonderfully, beautifully normal, and yet so in tune with the simple joys that all of us are still largely afforded, but just they happen in different ways. And so I guess I offer that beautiful little poem on this, in the second week of Advent here, as an opportunity for each one of us to stay as connected as we can to those simple, perspective-shifting moments that can happen. Maybe it's from our kids, maybe it's from within ourselves, maybe it's something different altogether. Wherever it comes from, however it happens, may it happen to you. May you find and feel your Advent, the impending arrival of this Christ child, this Christ light, that isn't possibly going to be born, that it's not a might thing. It will happen. It does happen every year. Christ is born in the midst of it all. So keep your eyes open. Stay on tiptoe and be ready to appreciate the simple joys of running and playing and hiking and biking and soaking in the opportunities that today may offer you. In that spirit, friends, and until we meet again, may the peace and love of Christ hold you all. Amen.